There was one item that the ASSA support mentioned when we were first getting onto the call, and they have the ability to record this. If we want to have a recording of the AFEE membership meeting, if we would prefer not to have the recording available to us later, the ASSA support can turn that off when we request it. So I didn't feel capable of answering that question myself. So I thought I would ask the individuals here if we wanted to have a recording that could potentially be available to us later, or if we would prefer not to have a recording of the AFEE membership meeting. Does anybody have an opinion? Hi, Tim. Hi, Tom.
So I was just answering your email. I have no strong opinion. I mean, to me, it's why not record it? I mean, my only qualm would be I just wouldn't want to record a thing and then have it just sit, just be another thing that we made and then nobody ever looked at. But if it's
Right.
useful, then absolutely.
Okay. Chris or John or anybody else?
Yeah, I agree, and we can always delete it later.
Okay. We'll see if the ASSA lets us do that. Okay, we'll leave it as it is. I don't have any
problem with recording it.
Okay.
I wonder about what kind of person would watch a tape of an AFEE business meeting.
Well, I did get the minutes out last night, so we recorded that for my own viewing, and I did get to watch that meeting. I experienced the entire meeting twice. I wouldn't really wish that on too many people either. Well, we're here at 2:31. People are still joining. Do we want to give it another minute? Or go ahead and get started?
We can get going, I guess.
Okay. Well, I was just talking to Chris as we were starting up, president of the association, about running a membership meeting electronically. It is great to see so many people and so many familiar faces and names. One of the things and purposes of the AFEE membership meeting is to provide a forum for the members to be able to talk to the board and the other membership about any activities that they're currently engaged in that they would like to share, ideas that they have for AFEE. And I will be taking minutes so that I can provide that to the board and trustees at a later date. And the easiest way in my mind of doing this, in addition to having the opportunities to talk about the membership comments, we also review the major activities of the board, any decisions that were made by the board. We had our board meeting last night, and I even got the minutes finished for that and have passed those around electronically. We'll say that having a conference virtually gave us perfect attendance for the board meeting. I don't know if they've ever had that before, but and a large number of trustees were also able to participate. So it was a lively conversation and we had a good time. I think it would make the most sense because we have the president-elect John Watkins here, who organized the conference this year. We have the editor of the JEI, and let's see who else. And Chris Brown, the president of the association. I'm the secretary treasurer and involved in a lot of the paperwork for AFEE. And I see many other trustees. We have presentations coming up later today. And so looking forward to the other special events that AFEE is hosting, the presidential address tonight at 6 p.m., as well as the president's address the next day at 6 p.m. So I'm hoping people will be able to participate in that as well as the rest of the sessions. the easiest way to have the opportunity for everybody to talk a little bit, I think, would be to briefly go through the major points of the board meeting agenda and give people the opportunity to talk about their areas and the work that they did this year. We could have some comments from the president, if the president would like to say anything at this time. If that would be good. I don't know, Chris, or do you want to move
Yeah,
along?
just let me make a few comments. First, it's great to see all of you. I'm happy to see that you got through this awful year of 2020 in one piece. Like to say that I was pleased at how the San Diego conference turned out. I think that we had a lot of strong papers. I was impressed by the June issue of the Journal of Economic Issues. So thanks to all who participated in the San Diego conference. And thanks to all who worked hard to keep AFEE a going concern despite all the complications during the current year. Special thanks to Eric Hake, who did just an unbelievable job holding us together and really compensating for a lot of my failures this year, frankly. And also want to say thanks to John Hall on the awards committee and Tahi Joe on the nominating committee, who did an amazing job under difficult circumstances. So thanks to all those people. And then thanks to John Watkins. I think that he's got a very fine program together here this year. And I know that we're going to see a lot of fine papers. I've already seen several. So with that, to John Watkins, and he can make a few comments.
I don't know that I have too much to say. I know one Wolfram had mentioned this, and I'll be soliciting feedback after the conference from people. But he made the point that he was disappointed that that he, and I agree with him completely, couldn't see who was in the audience. So I think that's one of the drawbacks of the current format. But we'll be soliciting your opinions. On the positive side, the presentation of the papers seemed to go well, and I'm sure everybody could see the PowerPoints and hear fine if their broadband connection was fine. Other than that, hopefully we'll meet in person next year and not in this format. Anybody else have any comments along those lines?
John, would you like to say anything about the number of papers, the number of sessions?
Oh yeah, we had 60, thank you. We had 60 papers, 12 sessions, because we had co-hosted with some other organizations, the Association for Social Economics and the International Association of Feminist Economics. And the papers all look interesting and good, and many of the papers adhere to the theme of the session, which I thought was really nice. And I did get one comment from Jim Cipher that he was surprised that so many people were willing to present ideas and papers under such extraordinarily difficult conditions. And I think that's a real tribute to the AFEE membership and those that wanted to come to this conference. So thank you.
Thank you, John. Chris, a couple comments from the Secretary Treasurer's report that I'd like to go ahead and share with the membership. Our association currently has 192 members as of the start of the conference. There is a little bit of an issue in that our membership runs for 1 calendar year, same as the JEI, and the subscription there. And so you're registered for the conference, you're a JEI member, and then the end of the conference, and it is renewal time. So I want to encourage participants to renew their membership, and it does happen almost as soon as we are done with the conference, actually. So 192, we typically have been in the neighborhood of 220, 230. So I think that the COVID crisis, other changes have had an effect on membership being recorded. We have had a number of members this year that have had trouble with their mailings for the JEI. And so if you are having issues getting your JEI in a timely manner, please always reach out to myself and the association coordinator, Teresa Rao. We have additional copies and we can mail those out of our office, and we've had good success getting those to you. Because we have additional copies of the JEI, I do want to encourage membership. If there is anyone who would like an extra copy or would like to share a copy of the JEI, a specific issue, you would just need to let us know and we'd be happy to mail that out. And perhaps you can share information about institutional economics with a colleague that you would like to promote our association to. One of the important items of the year is the elections. And so we had very successful elections this year. John Watkins has been elected as the president. Mary Wren was elected to be president-elect. And then we had 2 new board members that came on, Thomas Kemp and Anna Clemina. Board membership is a 3-year service, and they are members then and are participating in the board meetings as a voting member for 3 years. So it is a bit of a commitment. So thank you very much to Thomas and Anna Clemina for taking on these responsibilities. The Veblen Commons luncheon, we don't have a menu report and no complaints about the menu at this time because we have no menu to complain about. If you have complaints about the food, I don't even think you can talk to the ASSA about that. So we are good with that issue. This has substantially reduced the cost of running the conference for AFEE. So we're doing well financially, I'd have to say. The other major items, if I can pull that up from the Secretary Treasurer's report, was a AFEE Travelers Fund, in addition to the work of the Committee on Regional and International Conferences that John Watkins will be able to talk about. Members of AFEE have the opportunity to receive support for giving a presentation, being invited to speak at another institution in order to cover some of the logistical costs. We do not allow the use of these funds for honorarium, but if you are interested and have the opportunity, we'd like to find a way to support that, and application materials are available on our website. If I can mention from the minutes in terms of actions that were taken, there was one decision out of the ordinary, an additional observation that was made, and this was a decision to support our relationship with AFET. AFET, the Association for Institutional Thought, that is a Western counterpart to AFEE. We have been providing support to that organization for their student paper competition, which is always a very good competition, very enjoyable competition. And the board made a decision that in addition to providing financial support for some of those awards, not all of them, AFET covers some of their own costs for that, but AFEE does provide some funds there. the board made a decision that they wanted to also provide AFEE paper winners with a 1-year membership in AFEE and a subscription to the JEI. And I have already gotten in touch with the contacts I have at AFEE in order to share that information. So those, I think, are the primary points that I wanted to share with the membership from the Secretary Treasurer's report. Let's see, the next thing would be the JEI editor I guess I didn't mention some of the awards. We'll do that. We do have 3 awards that are given. There are 4 awards of the association: the Veblen Commons Award, the Clarence Ayers James Street Award, and the AFEE Service Award, in addition to the JEI Editor's Prize that Bill will be able to describe. As you recognize on the program, the Veblen Commons Award recipient is Deb Feigert, and her talk will be later this evening at 6 o'clock. So I'm hoping everyone can participate in that. Congratulations to Deb for the recognition of her work as an institutional economist and a very accomplished scholar. Thank you for everything you have done for AFEE over the years. The Clarence E. Ayers Scholar for 2021 is Smita Srinavis, and I don't know if she's here available today, but she is on the program. And so I encourage you to hear her talk and congratulate her. She will be serving as the Clarence Ayers Scholar for 2021. We will be putting information up about her research and about her work on the AFEE website in early 2021, and look forward to continuing to see more work from her. The James H. Street Scholar for 2021 is Ramon Vincent Garcia Fernandez, and also his information will be shared with the membership, and he is giving a presentation at the conference as one of the obligations of being recognized as the Street Scholar. The AFEE Service Award for 2021 was awarded to Jeffrey Schneider. I see Jeff's appears to be snowing in Pennsylvania. So Jeff is here with us in spirit, apparently. I know he actually looks like he's going to chime in. So
thanks, Eric. I just wanted to say that, you know, this organization has been my intellectual home for very many years, and many others have gone before me and laid the groundwork. So I'm humbled by the award. So thank you.
Thank you, and thank all of the award recipients for everything that they have done and are doing in their professional careers to promote institutional economics and support the Association for Evolutionary Economics. I do want to mention that in a regular meeting, typically at this time, we get a few pictures and we pass out some plaques. We have some beautiful plaques that will be delivered to you for the Veblen Commons Award and the other awards, and you should be getting those fairly soon. The order has been submitted, and we've approved the proofs for them. So maybe we'll take pictures and put them up on the website, I don't know, of the plaques before they get to you. But that was the last item that I had. I did want to mention the award recipients. So thank you.
Am I up?
Yep.
Okay. The JEI had another good year. In fact, I can give you some information that I couldn't even give the board last night. We ended up with 457 new submissions over the course of the last year. We continue to have about an 18-month stock of articles to publish. I want to thank all of you who did refereeing, many of you multiple numbers of refereeing. So everything's good at the Journal. The Editor's Choice Award for the Outstanding Article of 2020 was an article authored by John Wisman and Quentin DeRoy, and it's called The Proletarianization of the Professoriate and a Threat to Free Expression, Creativity, and Economic Dynamism. And of course, this pandemic has showed us how precarious the professoriate is in ways we never understood before. It's a wonderful article. You should all read it, especially since they are probably two of the more gifted writers in AFEE. It's sort of like when we suggest changes to them, they write us back and tell us no. We will be, Paolo Ramazzati and Danielle Guezza will be coming to us on the editorial board this year. The current members, Ellen Mutari, Scott Fullweiler, Mary Rand, Lynn Chester, Sebastian Berger, Ave Behrens, John Watkins, Timothy Wonder, and Yevon Narcissian will all be continuing because we had a sort of depletion for a while, and I want to build up the editorial board. We have some interesting projects that went on this year. Charles Whelan organized an interesting symposium we published on John R. Commons from a bunch of scholars from the Japanese Association for Evolutionary Economics, which was great fun. We have a symposium of reviews of Jeff Hodgson's book on Is There a Future for Heterodox Economics, featuring the late John Henry, Lynn Chester, who is not late, but just on time, David Jacek and Jason Potts, with a response from Jeff that'll be in the September issue. I am in the process of organizing a symposium and special issue in 2024, which is the 100th anniversary of the publication of the Legal Foundations of Capitalism. And basically, we're sort of getting the band back together of common scholars who did all the refereeing for the other symposium, and anyone else who's interested when we send out the call for payments. Our production editor reformatted the Ayers Classic, The Theory of Economic Progress, for publication on AFEE's website, and I'll be putting in a new introduction. That's already done. The format is the same as the 1978 issue. Rather than just a typed manuscript, it will be annotatable, and you'll be able to highlight it as you like. So I want to thank the board for allowing us to go forward and do that. We had an extraordinary number of people reviewing for us this year, so all in all, it was a very good year for me, and I think for the Journal, and I appreciate everything that all of you pitched in to help out over the year. The response is extraordinary, especially since we are a small organization that publishes a large journal that a lot of people read. So we're doing quite well in that regard. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, I'm always available. I answer questions all day, so.
I think with
Thanks
this,
again, Bill, for your great work. I know from experience, it's a pretty big responsibility. So thank you again.
I'm enjoying it more than I thought I ever would. It does keep me a bit busy, but the pandemic's given me a lot of spare time this year, so we've gotten quite a bit done. Thank you.
Bill, I wonder if you might comment on the revenue that the JEI has generated from downloads.
you're on mute. You're on mute, Bill.
Okay, we have a very high number of downloads this year, where we've been running around 15,000 a quarter, so we should finish up around 60,000. And that generates revenue for us. And I think the people from, I saw the people from Taylor and Francis on here, so They could probably give us more up-to-date figures than that, but they send me quarterly figures. The journal's doing well in terms of impact and citations. And of course, you know, we just keep plugging away, publishing good things. People are reading it. One extraordinary thing was John Harvey's review of Stephanie Kelton's book, on the deficit, generated 700 downloads, which is absolutely extraordinary for a book review. Possibly the highest we've ever had. So get yourself in the news and we'll get some downloads. It helps. Any other questions about the journal? Okay, great. Like I said, we're always open.
I guess there are just a couple items. This didn't produce in terms of a review of the conversations of the board. It did not result in a specific motion or approval, but there was several sort of connected items that were discussed. And I know John Watkins, as the incoming president, is going to be considering these issues, how we might pursue them. So I just wanted to briefly mention them. One was a conversation about membership dues structure. One was the potential to require a nominal JEI submission fee, since we receive a large number of submissions from people who are not members of AFEE. We also had a discussion about outreach and other activities of the association, hosting a conference, participating in graduate education summer workshop, and there were a lot of ideas that were floated at the board meeting, and just think there are a lot of ideas. One of the other items was potentially discussing a closer relationship with AFEE and support for AFEE. So I think that is a summary of the major decisions that were made and the conversations that were had at the board meeting. We are an open process organization, and the membership is available to attend the board meeting if anyone wants to put themselves through that. So as a member, I announced the board meeting to the general membership, and also repeat that opportunity for any member of AFEE to participate in the board meeting. And that would be in January, the day before the conference in 2022. So that is the primary details that I understood coming out of the board meeting. I don't know if there's anything I've missed. We have quite a few board members here. John or Bill mentioned that we might have a Taylor and Francis representative on the call. I'm sorry if you are here, I didn't see you or identify you. If you had something, if there is somebody here from Taylor and Francis.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, it's Michelle.
Oh, it's Michelle. Hi, Michelle.
I just wanted to stop in and say hi and let you know that I wanted to hear about what was going on. I'm sorry I missed the board meeting last night. And I'm planning on getting you guys your reporting for the end of the year so that you can share it with your members.
Thank you very much, Michelle. It's great to hear your voice, and I see you, and I look forward to working with you again next year.
Yes, I look forward to working with all of you this year. I will talk to you all soon, okay?
All right, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Eric, may I have a question to Michelle?
Yes, let's hope Michelle stays with us.
Sure, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay. It's about the much discussed issue among the journals, much discussed issue of open access. Could you give us an update on what the situation is? I mean, all the big publishers are doing something. I know of Springer that they have these so-called deal capital letters. I don't know what it
Yeah.
stands for. The deal agreements with a number of nations, at least in the EU. Is there something that would apply to the US and to one day perhaps to the JEI?
So we do have an open access available for many of our journals, and this is something that we would have to discuss for JEI specifically. I am happy to send the information over to you guys so that you have it, and it is freely accessible through our website in the author portal.
Okay, yeah. All right, thanks.
You're welcome.
I can read it, huh? I can read it
Yes,
there.
yes,
Yeah.
you can definitely read it. And if you'd like, I'm happy to give you my email address. You can reach out to me and I can forward it to you directly.
Okay, no, I will find it on the website.
Okay,
Yeah,
you're
will be.
welcome.
Wolfram, I can pass it on to you as well, okay?
Great, thanks, Eric.
I do think, Chris, we've gone over everything from the board meeting. I didn't hear any additional comments of items discussed there. So the next activity is to hear from the membership. So anybody that has any questions, comments that you'd like to make, I'll try to keep an eye on chat, and then we'll move forward with that. And I'll try to take minutes while this is happening.
Well, I did want to solicit some feedback from the membership regarding the Committee on Regional and International Conferences, which I chaired this past year. And of course, we had a number of requests, but because of the pandemic, everything became moot because everything was online. But I did, or the committee tried to come up with some guidelines, and that's what, and probably we won't be able to take advantage of this. I want to encourage the membership and you all to take advantage of this in the future in an effort to promote institutional economics and the association. But what we came up with was that if the session at another conference is an AFEE sponsored session, which has to be determined by CRIC, that one, we would pay for the, AFEE would pay for the registration fees, and two, we would pay the first $300 and 60% over and above your costs above $300. And I don't know, and one of the reasons for that was because we thought that if you're traveling to a conference, that the person ought to have a skin in the game. And the other requirement is that you be an AFEE member for a minimum of 3 years. I had a request for someone to pay their travel who wasn't a member of AFEE, and that just seemed wrong to me. I don't know if anybody has any feedback or response, but I think we'll try to do a better job, hopefully in the future, when live conferences come back, of trying to promote membership taking advantage of CRIC and our willingness to help subsidize conference travel. Does anybody have any response, or anyone think it's unreasonable or?
No response, but perhaps just one future plan, so to speak, for 21. In that context, the European Association for Evolutionary Political Economy still has its research area, which is called JAES, the Joint AFEE EP sessions, and we are up. And Asimina Cristoforo is here, the person in charge. And we have considered and have decided to invite Eileen Grable from Denver University, who's a long-standing AFEE member as well, I think, on her book that was just mentioned before by Bill. And have an open call. And I think, I mean, we have had that for some years, and I think the pathways are trodden and the channels do run and do function the same way as in the last years for 21. Just to announce that we continue caring for AFEE, EP connections and cooperation. And the person will be Eileen Grable in that case in the next year. We hope that it will be a physical one in September this year in Naples, Italy.
Okay. Other comments or opinions?
Our experience was always good with the FE finance and subsidy for our work. Thanks.
Oh, thank you.
John, I wouldn't mind just making a follow-up observation about the work of the committee. John did a great job this year as the president-elect. I do understand COVID definitely put a crimp in our ability to support these sessions at other conferences. CRIC has been in the bylaws. The Committee on Regional and International Conferences has been in the bylaws as long as I know for AFEE, but it had fallen into disuse some time ago. And I want to say it's now 6 or 7 years ago that a dispute erupted over who was going to be organizing it. That was between not John Hall, Phil O'Hara, and Jamie Galbraith. And as a result of that dispute, that drew some attention from the board. And Janet Knodler, serving as president, took up a lot of those responsibilities. It went into a revision, and Fred Lee participated in that as well as the president-elect. And out of all of that, Deb Feigert then was able to develop, during her work as the president, a revision of the bylaws that much more clearly defined the obligations of the Committee on Regional and International Conferences. And since that time, CRIC has become a very, very important avenue to promote institutional economics around the globe. It has been very successful. The budget has been used in many years completely. And its largest prior to COVID, there were more AFEE sessions organized around the globe than there were at the AFEE annual conference. So it has been a very, very successful process development. I have to say, observing all of that over the space of 4 years as Secretary Treasurer was probably one of my most satisfying experiences, watching the evolution of AFEE and its working rules. It's been enormously successful. For the next year, now the committee is organized as one of the charges to the president-elect. In addition to organizing the annual conference, as John has done this year, he's also responsible. I think that was the dispute between Phil and Jamie. He's also responsible for organizing this program. For the next academic year, for the next calendar year, the incoming president-elect, Mary Wren, will be the primary contact. She will be the chair of the Committee on Regional and International Conferences. So if you would like to discuss this opportunity, find out more about the working rules and how to submit an application for it, Mary Wren is the contact, and I would be happy to provide that. I know John, Bill, Chris, everyone here could pass on that information as well. So
I just wanted to remind everyone that at the board meeting in San Diego, the annual budget for CRIC was doubled from 3,000 to 6,000. Then, of course, in 2020, there were no funds dispersed for that purpose. But in any case, Mary's got some money to distribute to people that have proposals that meet the CRIC guidelines. So.
excellent.
It excludes this conference, by the way.
Yeah. Don't yeah, that maybe is a difficulty we weren't able to figure out. Maybe Deb can join in again and get that straightened out as well.
And I also want to compliment Asamina Christoforou for submitting very detailed prompt reports to the CRIC on the use of funds. Okay.
Yeah, we do have the opportunity. I mean, if anybody in the membership meeting is currently engaged in a project or any activities that they would like to share with the membership, now is an opportunity so that we can all learn about the work that you're doing. Do want to thank everyone who's done everything for AFEE over the previous year, all of the committee chairs. I know that President Brown already identified Tahi Joe as doing an excellent job under Herculean circumstance for the nominating committee. And I wanted to second that as well. Tahi, you did a great job, and I really appreciate your speedy service there. But now is an opportunity if anyone would like to chime in and share things about what they're doing, or any of the activities of the board, or any recommendations you would like to make to the board. We would compile that and pass it forward.
Eric, Deb.
Hi, Deb.
Did you just begin a new term as Secretary Treasurer? And if so, we congratulate you.
I put in my offer to serve an additional term in 2020, and that was a decision that was made at the San Diego board meeting. So this was my first year in a third term as Secretary Treasurer. I do think 3 terms is more than would be reasonable for any person to do it. I don't know. As an institutionalist, I would have to say one of the characteristics I've noted about members of heterodox organizations is that we are notoriously independent-minded and obstinate and strong-willed, and it is the only reason that I'm continuing to be able to do this work. So if anyone would like to consider serving as a Secretary Treasurer, I encourage you to keep your membership dues current, and look forward to some long conversations and a large number of documents that I could send your way in a few years. Happy to do it.
Eric, if I could plug something very quickly, if that's all right. Avi Baranis.
Absolutely.
This past year, Charles Whalen solicited chapters for a book, A Modern Guide to Post-Keynesian Institutional Economics. That's pretty underway, and I think nearing the end of the collection phase, and should hopefully be coming out in the near future. I know a lot of us, just looking through who's here, have chapters in that volume, so I thought I'd hopefully get that on everybody's radar for when it eventually comes out.
Need to make sure and get a book review in the JEI.
Eric, on another little point, really minor thing, Smita was mentioned before, and Smita, I was chatting with her after her talk this afternoon, and she said AFEE will set up a list on the website on the Clarence Ayres, the list of Clarence Ayres awardees. Is that true? And And she said it would start in 2013. Now, I was in 1995, last century. So perhaps some old guys could try to bring a list together. I see Greg Hayden on the panel here, and he has historical knowledge as well. So why not go back beyond 2013?
Yeah, who is responsible for keeping these lists?
What?
Who is responsible for keeping these lists?
Yeah.
Is that in the bylaws, or I don't know?
Yeah. Wolfram, I appreciate your.
Okay.
F. Gregory, I thought you were going to say something. Maybe you're on mute, Greg. Greg?
I just unmuted. Daphne here.
Hi, Daphne.
I would think since there's a financial award with it, wouldn't the financial records of the institution show who received it in each year?
That would be great if I could dig that out. I do have to say we have to answer Wolfram's question or make a couple clarifying comments there. We do have on the website all the previous street and air scholars and information about each one of them as previous award recipients. We will be putting Smita's information. She's already provided her bio and a photograph as well as a truncated CV. So I look forward to putting that up there. The work of updating and accumulating and backlogging information on the AFEE website is, of course, a continuous process. And I would welcome any support or help to identify the previous recipients of those awards. I can do what I can to try to dig back through that, but it does become very much a forensic process without having it clearly recorded in any single location. At least that is not the case.
Well, it should be in our past programs. It would be in our program.
Yeah. You know,
we just went back through and did an audit of those.
Yeah, my easy access to documents, the files that I've created and the directories that I've created goes back, I want to say, now to 2010. And as you can see, I wasn't accumulating all of the information properly for the first 3 years that I was trying to do this. And we haven't always had an air scholar. We have pretty consistently had a street scholar in my memory. But I look forward, I can always talk to the previous Secretary Treasurer and try to add some work to their plate and see if we can come up with some additional information about that. I'm sure they will inform me that they gave me all of their documents.
I just looked it up, Eric. I have a collection of ASA programs back to 1993, so I could help in case you have some.
Wolfram, I'm hoping that they are identified in the programs because if they are, that would be very good, right? And I would welcome any additional information about those awards. Don't need it for the president. Don't need it for the Veblen Commons Award recipient. But definitely for the Street Scholar and the Air Scholar. The Service Award has only recently been created. I want to say that was created in the bylaws revision, if I remember correctly, Deb. So we have all of the AFEE Service Award recipients listed on the website. I think we have a little more time, 12 minutes or something like that. If we want to turn to any other projects, thank you very much from Avi Baranis, who shared information about his book in I'm afraid I have no book coming out. Serving as Secretary Treasurer seems to occupy all of my additional time. I know that's the excuse I always give to my current students when I'm not grading papers. So,
Well, if it's all right for us to plug books, I didn't know that we did that at the meetings, but
sure. Anything you want to talk about? Anything you want to share, Daphne?
well, I'm working on a labor economics book called Work, Pay, and Sustainability: The Three Faces of Labor. As you might suspect, it borrows some from Figure and Matari's Three Faces of Wages, but it extends it and draws from many other institutionalists and pluralists. And I hope that will be completed by the end of the year. It's coming out with Polity Press because I wanted it to be something that was affordable, that students could purchase in addition to perhaps their campus might require a more traditional labor economics book. But I'm really trying to go, soup to nuts, the whole thing, that you could use it as an explanation of wage determination and employment and all those things from an institutionalist perspective. And, of course, it brings in social costs much more than most would, et cetera. So I hope that will be coming out at the end of the year or very early in 2022.
May I add, Eric, a little announcement? Bill would probably not bring it up here, but Bill and an old guy named Kurt Dapfer, most of you will remember him. The three of us have been asked by Elgar to conceptualize and in the end edit an encyclopedia of evolutionary and institutional economics. That is something for 23 or so. We are in the very first phase of sorting things and principles and basics. But I'm pretty sure that during this year we will come up to a number of you. So the project is an encyclopedia. We do not even know whether it is a 1 volume or a 2 or 3 volume thing. An encyclopedia of evolutionary and institutional economics. Something the old persons of you older will remember the Hodgson Samuels tool thing of the early 90s. In some sense, it will be a follow-up of that, what was it called, the Elgar Companion at that time. So this time they have a series of encyclopedias. That is something. On another thing, we will do something on with Ping Chen from China and to Austin, Texas. He's always commuting between Beijing and Austin. Something like a handbook on complexity economics for Routledge, and also in this context, also in the very first phase, and in this context, we definitely will come up to some of you during this year. Just a little report. Thank you.
Hey, Eric, you're on mute.
So thanks, Tom. I do want to leave enough time for any comments from the membership, since we are listing things that people have done recently. I've been primarily thinking about AFEE and Secretary Treasurer activity. I forgot that I did just get a book published with Glenn Atkinson and Steve Poskell with Routledge Press. And that is going into print now, and it is called The Evolution of the Corporation in the United States: From Social Control to financialization, essentially taking the work that Glenn, Stephen, and I have done on the early history of the American corporation and bringing that up to the present period of time. It is pretty critical of the developments of economics and new finance. And so we wanted to get that out there, that institutionalists have been complaining about this system for a long time. Thomas, I see Thomas's hand wave. Anybody that wants to unmute and talk, we've got a couple more minutes.
I just thanks Eric. I just so Charles, I don't think he's here. I didn't see him on the list, but I don't want to speak for him. But I think there's two volumes coming out. The one that was mentioned earlier, and then there's a second one that a bunch of us are in too. So something to look out for. I'm pretty excited about that one. That going back to what we were just talking about, this was coming out of a conversation that he and I had, and I'm sure other ideas he had to bring the sort of tool volume. Mark Toole's edited book from roughly 40 years ago, and tell a bunch of stories of sort of applied institutional economics of work that had been done, in more recent years. And so I know that there's a few of us on this call here that are in part of that. So should be out spring, summer 2021. Rutledge Publishers. Yeah, it's title will be Institutional Economics, Perspectives and Methods in Pursuit of a Better World. Charles is the editor.
I'll have to get the title from you.
Will do. Thanks.
Any more comments or questions?
I just a little question. I came in late, and it was in the middle of John's report, I think. Just a question. You probably have said it. How are we standing this year in relation to the long run? Do we have more papers, more sessions, same attendance, less, more, or whatever? I know of some Indian, Smita went off because she said, I'm in the middle of the night. Lynn's still here. It's very early in the morning with her now. I'm late in the evening. So I could imagine that the international attendance is less this time. Do you have figures or rough estimations?
I do not. I do know that ASSA had allocated us 11 panels, and we have 12 simply because we're co-hosting with other organizations.
I see.
The ASE and the International Feminist Economic Group. The papers are certainly very international, but and we have 87 participants in total on the program, and 60 papers. That includes those that are co-hosted. How that compares with previous years, I believe it's a little more, because last year, I think too, we were allocated 11 panels, if I'm not mistaken. So it seems extremely healthy to me. And Jim Cipher, I mentioned earlier, he sent me an email. He thought he was impressed that so many AFEE members were willing to present at this conference, given the virtual nature of having to do so. And I'm impressed at the commitment of the AFEE members. We only had one paper that was, I guess, in the last day or two papers that have been withdrawn. So I thought that was quite impressive. Beyond that, I don't have any information.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry. Where are we now in terms of the battle for trying to have higher representation of heterodox economics of the SSA? What's the existing criteria? Are they changing it? How are they going to count this year? And how do we kind of organize going forward?
I inquired about that, and they did say that they were going to be counting the people at the sessions, but they weren't going to use that as a basis for allocating future sessions. So I assume it's frozen. And I believe if the panels fell below 13, that became problematic, if the number of people in the audience. So one of the reasons why I didn't have discussants is because discussants reduce the number of people in the audience. And I also think oftentimes discussants may not be familiar with the literature surrounding a paper as the panelists themselves. And at least the two
Howard,
sessions. No, go ahead,
to
Chris.
your point, I'm sorry, John. Last year, the issue came up that I, as the program chair, had listed the discussants.
We got 1 minute.
In the ASSA program. So therefore, the discussants were not counted as part of the audience, whereas technically speaking, you could have discussants, leave them off the program, and then if they came, you see, they would count. So that's one adjustment that's been made here, for better or for worse, to sort of better adapt to their system.
Yeah, we're going to get cut off here within seconds. We're into the 1 minute final count. So just to make it sort of holistic, thanks to everyone for showing up. I look forward to seeing everyone at the Veblen Commons award presentation at 6 o'clock and the presidential address tomorrow at 6 o'clock as well. And the clock now shows me that it's 3:30. So they told me that it was going to be a hard out right at 3:30. So I'm not exactly sure. Maybe my clock on my computer is a little bit off, but Howard, I hope that answered your question. I've got a couple comments about that as well. I'd be happy to follow up.
We might have a few more times. I'd like to, if we still have another minute or two, I don't know if you want to just comment now on it, because it's a huge issue now as we go forward. I mean, I looked through the program and it's still overwhelmingly orthodox and not terribly interesting from my perspective.
The ASSA did establish 3 years ago a specific rule about counting attendance. I want to say it was median instead of mode. I can't remember, but we were above the cutoff to be considered for losing any sessions, but we were close to the margin. And so the best thing we can do to preserve the number of sessions that we have is for all participants to participate in the conference actively, show up for sessions, have conversations. And John did a good thing with his observations about the discussant. I think that's been very useful. The virtual meetings are not apparently having an effect on the calculations, but this will be true the next time we have a regular meeting.
Another minor thing in terms of the technology, the technique of Zooming. ASSA obviously has bought a reduced version, which means that in the particular sessions, the regular attendant doesn't even know how many attendants are there, let alone that we cannot see each other. Only the presenters, the panel obviously sees a panel of videos, of faces. That is kind of frustrating, I think, because you never know. In one session, we had even to chat, to write down the questions, which was unnecessary, I think, because in the second session, it turned out that the organizer can indeed switch on and off the microphones for